till the end, Ravan did not. Till the end, Ravan did not realize that Ram is Bhagwan. He said he's going around in the forest like a person who's been thrown out of his kingdom. How can he be Bhagwan? Or how can he be God? His brother Kumkaran told him, his brother Vibhishan told him that, and even his son Indrajit told him that, look, you have to be careful because he's Narayan himself, he's God himself. We've seen his power, he has to be God, he cannot be anything else. But Ravan did not realize, they did not believe them, and his wife Mandodari also kept telling that he is God. What you've done, you've taken his wife away, that's not right. So he kept telling, she also kept telling him. Shurupnakha, that's Ravan's sister. She came and met Ramchandra Ji and Lakshman in the forest, and she wanted to marry Lakshman and Ram, but they sent her away and they disfigured her nose, and she went around and told everybody, look, that's the way Ram has behaved and Lakshman has behaved with me. So it's similar to the propaganda which is being done by internet nowadays. So this propaganda, what does it mean? It means that something which is very ordinary is made into a very, very big thing. That's how that's the basic aim of propaganda. So similarly, Shurupnakha also, a small thing, she transformed it into a very big thing. So Shurupnakha is personified lies or falsehood. It's like nowadays in the social media, they talk about floods. It's like if there's a little bit of flooding in a particular area and there are about 2 houses which have got subdued with water, they would say that it's floods everywhere. So it's like making a mountain out of a molehill. So making big things out of small ones. So this is all falsehood, all lies. Shurupnakha is personified propaganda. She came to Dandakaranya. She was actually she wanted to marry Ramchandra because she was lured by the beauty of Ramchandra. She was, and Ramchandra told him that, look, I have taken a vow that I'll have only one wife, so I can't have another one. But you can go and see if Lakshman will marry you. When she saw Sita, she thought till the time that Sita will be there with Ramchandra Ji, he will never marry me. Let me eat Sita up. So Lakshman disfigured her. He chopped off her nose and her ear. So if one disfigures nose, so Maharaj is saying that it's like if a woman gets her nose chopped off, nobody would marry her. So it's like they're totally disfiguring a woman.
स्त्रियों के नाक के ऊपर उसके मुखमंडल की सौंदर्य इसके नाक जितना सुंदर होता है उनका ही सौंदर्य जो है बिखर देता है और भगवान रामचंद्र ने क्या किया सुपना के नाक और कान काट दिया अरे क्यों बच्चा का पुत्र भगवान भगवान के पास कोई किसी कामना वासना के लिए आ जाए भगवान उसको आपके साथ सुपन का आइडिया किसने काम था उनके पोती रूप में प्राप्ति करने के लिए
Shupnaka came to Ramchandra ji. She wanted to marry Ram. She had all lusty thoughts about Ramchandra ji and she wanted to marry him. So in this Leela, Ramchandra ji said that in this Leela, in this pastime that I am here as Ram, and I have taken a vow that I will marry only Sita, but I cannot accept even this. Because I have already given a vow to Sita that I will take her as my wife, and Raghukul Priti, the vows which have been taken by the dynasty of Ramchandra ji says that if I take a vow, I fulfill that vow lifelong. So, in Indian culture, the kings can marry as many times as matters. But Ramchandra ji said that in our culture, in Indian culture, kings can marry as many times as they want. But in that, Ramchandra ji gave a vow to Sita that he will never marry another woman. So, and I go by that vow. And Shupnaka came with the lusty thoughts of, lusty ideas of marrying Ramchandra ji. So he says this. So he says that I'll accept you. So Ramchandra ji accepted mentally, and then she came in the next Leela of Krishna as Kubja. So Kubja used to go and put tilak on Kans. She used to put tilak, Chandan tilak. So while she was going to put the tilak for while she was going to Kans, Krishna came. When he went to Mathura, he met her and he said, okay. He caught hold of her. She was totally disfigured, bent at 3 places. So when Krishna came, he put his foot on Kubja's foot and he lifted her chin, and as he touched her, she became into a beautiful woman. So she is called as Kubja Sundari. Kubja was disfigured earlier, but then Krishna made her into a beautiful woman. When she was going to Kans, Krishna came behind her and just called her. She was disfigured. She knew that she was disfigured, so she was going in her own thoughts. She was going ahead, and Krishna called her out and said, "Sundari, oh beautiful woman." Sundari means a beautiful woman. So he called her once or twice, and she said, "Nobody has called me as a beautiful woman," and she thought that he was making fun of her. nobody had addressed Kubja as a beautiful woman. Everybody would just look at her, keep her, but don't not say anything.
हाथ उसके पकड़ बलराम कर रहे कन्हैया ये क्या तो ये थोड़ी ब्रज थोड़ी है
So Krishna went and got hold of Kubja's hand, and then Balram told him that, look, this is not Braj. In Braj you keep touching each other's hands, and you keep doing all these pranks of yours, but here this is Mathura. If somebody sees you do all this, you are going to have trouble. With gopis you do a lot of chherkhani. You keep troubling them and doing all these little pranks with them. And then Balram says, so Balram told him, look, you have to be a little careful in Mathura. This is Mathura, this is not Braj. There are a lot of rules here of Kans. If somebody sees you, you will be caught and put behind bars. You have to be careful. So he went and asked Krishna says, where are you going, Kubja? He just called out to her. So where are you going? And she says, I am going to Kans. I make this paste of sandalwood and a lot of other things, and I put this paste on Kans, so I'm going there. So he went and goes and sells. Krishna tells Kubja, why don't you do it for me? So he caught her, put his foot on Kubja's foot, and touched her back, which had been bent, and then lifted her chin. And as he did that, Kubja came straight, and she came into a beautiful woman, and she was called as Kubja Sundari. Here in this materialistic world, we make fun of people. Those who are not really beautiful, we keep calling them as beautiful. But when Krishna called Kubja as beautiful, it had to happen. So that's how Krishna touched her and she became into a beautiful woman. Here in the materialistic world, it's not possible. If we call somebody as beautiful, when she is actually ugly, she stays ugly, isn't it? But there, Krishna, when Krishna came and touched her, he actually made her into a beautiful woman. So that's how it is. We and Bhagwan are different. When she came, when in Shuknaka, in the Leela of Ramchandraji, why did Lakshman chop off the nose and ear of Shuknaka? It was because he says, actually Shuknaka had been accepted by Ramchandraji. He says that by this Leela, what is deciphered is that anybody who's been taken up by or accepted by Bhagwan, he sees to it that nobody else makes use of her. So similarly, because she had come to Ramchandra to be accepted as a wife, so Ramchandraji actually accepted her mentally. And then Shubhnaka was not accepted by anybody else. That is why the disfigurement had to happen. So anything that God does, it is always auspicious. It's not inauspicious. It might look as if it's inauspicious for the person, but it's actually auspicious. When Kubja had been turned into a beautiful woman by Krishna in Krishna Leela, that was before Krishna called Kans. So Kubja asked Krishna and Balram to come to her house. But this was before Kans was killed by Krishna. So Krishna promised that once I have given... So this is Mathura, we do have a Kubja Mandir there. It's just near the rail track. That's called as Kubja Bhavan. In Mathura, you can go and see a room that's called as Kubja Bhavan. That's near the Ranga Mandir. And we find a Akrur Bhavan also in Mathura. After Krishna killed Kans, he did go to Kubja. Into Kubja's house. We do see Kubja's house in Mathura, next to the railway track and near the Ranga Mandir, Rangeshwar Mandir. When you talk about the rati of the various Ramanis in Krishna, with Krishna it's called a Sadharan Rati. Kubja Rati is called a Sadharan Rati. Dwarka Mahishis is called as Samanjasa Rati, and Gopi's Prem is called as Samartha Rati. This is Samartha Rati is that which is the Rati is considered as capable of this is the Samartha Rati is Ekantik Krishna Rati, and it's the Samartha Rati is totally able to control Krishna, and this is not for your own benefit. There is no intention of self benefit in this. Self love, totally selfless in Krishna's love, for Krishna love. Jiva Goswami mentions in his Tikas that Yogmaya arranged this. This was only the bhav that they are getting married to another husband for gopis, to increase the parakya bhav which Krishna wanted to relish. So this was totally bhav. This was a bhav with the gopis that they have got married and they will be stopped by their own people, and so that their love towards Krishna increases. So to nurture the parakya bhav of gopis for Krishna, this bhav has been taken. This bhav has been gopis are not at all interested in seeing any other avatar of Krishna. Not Mathuresh Krishna and not even Narayan, no other. They will never be able to, they don't even have a little bit of, in their thoughts, in their actions, they do not think about any other avatar of Krishna except the Vrajendranandan Krishna. So this marriage of gopis to the other gopis is Swapanvat. It was like a dream for them, so that they have that bhav that they are married. No marriage actually occurs. Jiva Goswami says that it's not possible that the gopis have any association whatsoever with their husbands. Jiva Goswami says that they have never had any association, physical relationship with their husbands. They have not even sat on the beds of their husbands. Yogmaya arranged in such a way so that to nurture the parakya bhav, but they never had any physical association at all. Gopis and gopis who were married, and they never even touched the bed of their gopis.
मनुष्य को भी पर्सनली किया पति संबंध बहुत दूर की बात है। अथवा कहीं कहीं जो क्या करते हैं कि छाया के लोग एक बना देते हैं। जो नित्य सिद्धा गोपियां है यहाँ पर कई प्रकार की गोपियों की बात है।
They talk about all 4 types of gopis: Nitya Siddha gopis, Sadhan Siddha gopis, Shrutichari gopis, Manichari gopis, Radha and other gopis. Radha gopis, their husbands have not even taken the darshan of those gopis, Radha ji. Yugmaya used to keep their husbands so busy in their work that they did not find any time for doing darshan for their husbands, for their wives. So they,
क्या करते हैं काम करते हैं मथुरा में रहते हैं हमारे मठ के संतान और काम करते हैं दिल्ली में हर रोज 3:30 बजे उठते हैं।
there's a woman, there's a devotee that Maharaj is talking about. Her husband comes, so they stay in Mathura and he works in Delhi. So that person used to start at 3:30 in the morning for Delhi, work the whole day in Delhi in this, and he used to finish his work at 9:30 and come back and reach Mathura late night. So similar to this work, that the wife was not able to see or meet her son and her husband. Even for months, she would not see those two. If the husband keeps working so ceaselessly from morning till night, then there's no relation at all between husband and wife. And that's similar to this. The gopis, the Yogmaya would keep the husband so busy. Similarly, the Yogmaya would arrange for the husbands of the gopis in such a way that they would keep themselves busy in the work and not think about their wives at all. In materialistic world also we see all this, isn't it? We see practically all this, that a woman is not able to see her son every day or her husband every day because of the work that he keeps busy with his work. So similarly in the spiritual world also a lot of things are being possible by Yogmaya. So similarly Yogmaya also arranges them so busy. Abhimanyu was Radhaji's husband, but then he was so busy, he was so very busy with the cows, the calves, a lot of work. It was not possible that Radhaji, no sang with Radha at all, but not even darshan of Radhaji. Ghosh Panni. Ghosh. तो घोड़ों का So Yogmaya kept them busy. The cow sheds were very far off. So Abhimanyu would keep doing that work from morning till evening and be busy with the work.
So Jogamaya arranged that her husbands, they work so much, so they didn't see the husband. Jogamaya arranged. So the gopis, they used to think, oh, my husband, he went to another house, so he's coming back soon. This was arrangement of Jogamaya. In that time, there was no matches. There was no such a thing. You had to go to a house. I used to live in a village, so I saw this. Oh, I saw in the house of my neighbor there was some fire, so you went to your neighbor, and you took some you took something, so you would take that fire to your house, so you could use that fire inside your house with wood. So we used to go to the neighbors to take the fire that he was using, because there was no these things as matches in the market. What to speak about lighter? Lighter came very so much time after in my life. But the people from the village, what they did, if they saw some fire in the neighbor, you went to the neighbor and you put some paper or something and you took the fire and to your house. And even after the rain, if it was raining, the matches, they would not work because they were wet. Even if you have matches, they were wet and they didn't work. So you went to the neighbor and you took the matches to your house. So in this way, Jogamaya, what she did, the husbands, their husbands, they thought, they used to think, my wife, she went to the neighbor to take fire. That's what the husbands thought. But actually they went to the Rasa Lila. Sometimes also Jogamaya, she created a form of the gopis in their house, like a chaya, a shadow of the gopis. And it was like the gopis were sitting in the house. But actually they went to the Rasa Lila. So the husband, he used to think, my wife, she just came to someone's house and she's coming back. She's coming back. She's in the neighbor's house. But they suddenly see the gopis, their husbands. They thought, my wife is at home. She's doing the work at home. But actually, Jogamaya, she was doing these duties they had at home, because she made this form of the gopis, like the shadow of the gopis. When Krishna used to play the flute, all the gopis, they gave up all their duties and ran after him. So what's the feeling that they had? The father-in-law and mother-in-law, they said, "What are you doing? Where are you going? You're going to go to Yamata? What are you doing? You have to stay at home and work at home, do your duties." They even lock the daughter-in-law at home, so she won't go out. The mother-in-law and father-in-law. Another thing, the gopis that would go to meet Krishna. Krishna did a Rasa Lila with whom? The gopis. The Brajavasis didn't know what was going on, what was happening. Only Krishna and the gopis, they knew. And sometimes due to Jogamaya, for example, Kundalata, when Krishna was in this material world, nobody knew about the Rasa Lila. It was after Sukadeva Goswami told to Parikshit Maharaj in Bhagavata, because this Rasa Lila in Krishna's time, nobody knew about this. That's the speciality. Because Sukadeva Goswami, after he told about Rasa Lila, Because if Krishna would,
इस समाज में किसी को पता चला तो कृष्ण के ऊपर लांछन लगती कि नहीं लगती?
because if they knew that Krishna was meeting with the gopis, like their husbands, if they knew that Krishna was meeting them, everybody would be like accusing Krishna. That would be a big problem in the society. So Jogamaya arranged it, so nobody would know about that. Nobody knew that the gopis were meeting Krishna to do the rasa dance, rasa lila. What am I trying to say? What was I saying? Propaganda. The Suparnaka, she is the symbol of the propaganda of the internet media. So she went to Sita and she tried to I don't know, do something with Sita. Then she went to Ravana and she said, "Oh, I went to the forest. I saw a very beautiful woman and I tried to take this woman for you. And then they took and cut my ear and my nose." She told the opposite. But Ravana, he didn't even thought about it. He didn't even think about it. He didn't think that she was telling a lie. Therefore, if the king is blind, the water goes wherever you throw it, because the water is blind. If you throw the water up, she's going up. It's going up, and if you throw it down, it's going down. And there, some kings are also like this. Anything you tell the king, some kings they are going to believe it. The king is not thinking. He's not trying to see what is really going on. Is it true or not? So, the old times, the ideal king, what was that? He would disguise himself to go out of his king, to go out of his palace, and he would go among the ordinary people to see what was going on. He would not believe what they told him. He would go and see by himself. So, like Vikramaditya, Ramachandra used to do this, to go out among the ordinary people. And Vikramaditya, have you ever heard about him? Do you know his story? Have you ever studied the story of Indian history? So Vikramaditya, when he used to rule, he used to go out, he used to disguise himself to see what way the ordinary people they were living. So nowadays, the scandals that are happening, what they happen? Because there is the government, the central government, corruption, taxes. They collect the taxes, but 80% is for corruption. So these higher people, not higher people, they have more money. They take the money from ordinary people for themselves. So in Gujarat there was a big storm, and how many people? to help this big storm that happened there. Even people from England, they send cloths and money to Gujarat. How much money they send to help people from Gujarat? So they collected this money to help these people, but actually, how much money came to the people that were suffering from this calamity? How much money really came to them? Many people collect this money from England, many pounds, many pounds. I remember. But actually, how much money actually went to the people that were really suffering from the storm? Because they kept, the politicians, they took this money for themselves. They kept this money in their pockets. So until there is a change in the mentality of the society is not going to progress. That's why there is so much corruption in India, and many people want to live in the other countries, because outside there is also corruption, but it's not so much, less corruption than in here. Here, one time I was in a car, and the police. If the police stops you, for sure you have to give 500 rupees to the policeman. I was in the car, and he saw we had all the papers. It was of the car. So the window of the car. There was something in the car that was not legal, something with the window. It was not something was not right with the window, so we had to give money to the policeman. Or the papers were not right. Anyway. So he said, the policeman, he said, "Oh, I need 1,000 rupees." He said, "It's this corruption, no? 1,000 rupees." He wanted. So people from India, this mentality of the Indian people, if it doesn't change. Because in the Western, Videsh, the policemen, they don't do this corruption. Actually, they give it's not tax, but they give this tax, right? The legal. They charge the legal. So the outside, the Western, the police, they don't do this, the corruption. But here, they want the money. They want the money. So if there's something wrong with the car, okay. But Indian devotee, he went to Germany with his family. England. He was in England actually with his family, and they rent a car. So he told me, oh, when I stopped to pass water in the road, something with 50 cents, because actually 50 cents of pounds is actually 40 rupees. Because India, we think about this, because to pass water in the road there, you have to pay 50 cents of pound, which is 40 rupees. So my family, there are 4 people, 4 members or 5 in my family, so we will have to pay 200 rupees only to pass water. So this Indian devotee was thinking about these things. So what he did, he stopped in the road, on the road. They went to pass water on the road. But there were a lot of security cameras everywhere. So the 2 cars, police cars, stopped. But what are you doing? You just pass water here? So they had to pay 1,000 euros. 1,000 euros of tax. What? 1,000 euros. So much. Please, I'm Indian. I didn't know about this. Please forgive me. So that's why you have to pay, because you will never do this again. You will remember this your whole life, and you never do this again. The policeman, actually, he didn't want the money for himself, the corruption. It was written in the paper, you have to pay 1,000 euros. They had to deposit the money. And he told me that, this devotee, this person told me that. Now you can think. Here you also give 100 rupees, right? Here, the police take 100 rupees and go away. So until there's no change in the mentality, how can we develop our society? Because Modi, the minister, what can he do by himself alone? The society must change also. Usually everybody from the government, they are thieves, usually. So how is it possible to take all of them? So Modi, he's actually a sadhu, but what can he do by himself? Because everybody around in the government, everybody is thief. Only him is how can he do by himself? See, we stopped the car and you saw the policeman, he asked for 100 rupees. Everything was okay with the car, but still the policeman asked for 100 rupees. When we were coming from Faridabad to Delhi, have you seen this? You were with me. Corruption. So. Everybody's like Ravan and Suparnaka, I think. So, if we don't end these things, how the society will progress? The society cannot. Okay, corruption needs to end. So that's why Ramachandra said, kill them all. Ramayana, Bhagavan, Ramachandra, he told all this, how we can kill the evil people. So Bharata asked, if you kill a person with a bad person, there's nothing wrong with this. Someone asked Ramachandra this and he gave this answer. So, these people, this wicked person, they are like a disgrace to the society. Like the person who take other people's wives. This is written in Ramacharitmanasa. Bali, he took the wife of Sugriva. So if this person has to be punished so much, we cannot forgive this. We have to punish this. Otherwise, the society will not. If you don't punish those people, wicked person, the society. Today is the piercement day of Ramachandra. After lunchtime, we will talk more about this. I remember in Mathura, Gurudeva used to sit from morning in Ramanavami day, and he used to speak about Ramachandra. And after, Gurudeva, he spoke for at least 2 hours, from 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock. He spoke about Ramayana, the essence of Ramayana. He used to speak. And after, from 9 until midday, for 3 hours, Ramacharitmanasa. Someone used to read Ramacharitmanasa. And then after midday, Gurudev again, he came. Ramachandra Abhishek. And after evening, 4 p.m., Gurudev also came. He had so much love for Ramachandra, so much prem, Gurudev. He used to like so much Ramachandra. And after 4 o'clock until 7:30, 8 o'clock, used to be Harikatha. He gave Harikatha. Have you ever have you ever participated in this with Gurudev? No. He didn't have this opportunity because I didn't get it, I think. When Gurudev started to travel overseas, I think. Something like this. Then, after Guru Purnima, Gurudeva used to travel to Holland, USA. '82, '85, I saw in this time. For 1 month, Gurudeva used to speak to us about Ramayana. Valmiki Ramayana, he read. Because Mula Ramayana, the original Ramayana, is Valmiki Ramayana. Some people edited the Ramayana, actually. But the Mula Ramayana, original, is Valmiki Ramayana. And after that, according with the state and the language of each place, so many Ramayanas were edited, created. So in north of India, Tulasidas manifested Manacharitmanasa. In the south, Tamil Ramayana. In the south Bengal, Kirti, I don't know the name. So in different states of India, there are different Ramayanas. But the Mula Ramayana, the original, is Valmiki. Some additions, some distortions might happen in the original Valmiki Ramayana, and people. For example, in Bengal, Ramayana in Bengal, some things are different from the original Ramayana, right? Navaratri, this culture comes from this Kitrivasa, from Ramachandra. What happens? For example, this Ramayana from Bengal, Kirtivasa Ramayana, people, they change. So after this change, this culture becomes a local culture. So they start to do this in their lives. It's a distortion of the original of Ramayana. This Navaratri also comes from this Ramayana from Bengal. So some people, does not respect the Ramacharita only they respect the Valmiki Ramayana.
इसलिए कुछ लोग इसको भी स्वीकार नहीं करते, किंतु बुद्धदेव गौड़ीय वैष्णव आदर और बाकी रामायण में तो अनेक प्रथा जो है लोक प्रथा के अनुसार, देशाचार के अनुसार, जहाँ जहाँ और जैसे देशाचार है उसी के ऊपर अधिक प्रथा। इसके पढ़ना है तो किसको पढ़ना चाहिए? वाल्मीकि रामायण।
So we have always to study Valmiki Ramayana. This is the pure, no distortion. Sanskrit.
हिंदी भाषा में रामचरितमानस में देते और देते ऐसे करके वाल्मीकि रामायण को क्या बोलते नीचे देते ऐसे, क्योंकि रामचरितमानस बहुत सरल सहज रूप में हिंदी भाषा
Ramacharita is in Hindi, and it's very simple for people to understand. Because Valmiki Ramayana is in Sanskrit, so it's very, very hard to understand. People cannot understand Valmiki Ramayana. And little by little, the government became atheist, and they practically finished the Sanskrit. So how people can study in Sanskrit Valmiki Ramayana? Because the government finished with the Sanskrit language almost. That's why the original Ramayana, we actually forgot about it. So we read the Ramayana according to our own state. If you go to the South India, everybody reads only this Tamil Ramayana. But sometimes there are some different things, because of this local language and everything. The Gaudiya Vaishnavas, they respect the Ramacharita in Hindi. They do respect it. Because there are many things. It is according with Valmiki Ramayana, actually.